if any of you were to meet anybody from my cast, you would have such an amazing experience with them walking away, regardless of whatever conflict or how I feel personally about people from my cast. If you met them, you would see the good in them, truly. Like, you'd walk away with a good interaction, and that's what production and casting saw when putting them in the house. So, I'm always a proponent of just like, please be kind to other people. Please don't attack people unjustly so. And, just, be kind. Don't be nice, be kind.
Exactly.
All right.
My Vina loves. It's Miss Vina D, and you're watching Vina Team Unfiltered.
We're going live. It's been forever since I have done a public live. And to be clear, I am wearing a filter. I just want to make that very obvious right now. Add a moderator, confirm. There we go. Okay. I don't know. I use this filter all the time. I don't know why it looks like extra filtery today, but whatever. Full transparency. That's what we're doing. Okay. Hey guys. What up? What up? What up? I'm actually really excited to do this one. I get so many questions about casting for Big Brother, what the Big Brother casting process is like, what that whole journey is like. So I am going to break this down kind of into 2 phases. I took a lot of notes on my Shinola notebook given to me from the city of Detroit. Thank you. So I took a lot of notes about like the timeline. So I want to walk through that for you all first. And then I'll get to asking or answering some of the questions that you all sent. And you all sent some really, really good questions. So we'll talk about the timeline from when I first got contacted about going on Amazing Race until I was, as they say, kidnapped. And then from being kidnapped, after that, the rest is history, yada, yada, yada. But from there, I'll answer a lot of the questions that you actually have, like the nitty gritty questions. So number 1, good luck to everybody. I'm, again, thinking about where I was in the process right now, a year ago. It's really nerve-wracking. You're going to be nervous every single step of the way because anything can happen. You could be locked in for the show, or at least think you are, and then it could all be taken away for a hot second, quickly. So it's a journey that is so filled with anxiety and you don't want to mess anything up. But if you get into the house, it is all so worth it and all so exciting. Someone just asked if I'm Irish, and I think that's a very funny question. Kidnapped equals sequester. Basically, yes. If anybody, if you're saying kidnapped, that's just what the Big Brother universe calls it when producers fly in and they interview you. Oh, Black Girl Sensing, I love you guys too. Kidnapping is just what it's called loosely when producers fly in, film all the things, then they surprise you with your key. But we will get to that in a second. So let me run through. I wrote this down like it's chicken scratch, but I will just go through the timeline for me personally. The timeline can shift a little bit depending on specifically who. I know people who were contacted way after I got first contacted and went through the process in a severely condensed way. I know people who got contacted around the same time as me, but maybe have waited longer. So it can vary depending on person to person, especially since I was recruited. I think the casting team was just get familiar with the show. We really want you to understand what you're getting into. We really want you to know the show so that you can do well. Because look, the casting team doesn't just want to put anybody in the house and be let's see how it goes. The casting team actually really wants people who are going to respect the game and play the game to the best of their ability. So, you can only control for so many variables. You don't really know if a super fan is actually going to be amazing when they play the game. That's not always the case. And then you don't know if a recruit is going to be the best person to ever play the game, or if you're going to get a recruit like me who's I learned as much as I could and I tried to respect the fan base as much as possible and let's see how it goes, and then you end up winning. So there's a lot of different variables here. But my timeline was definitely extended because I was really taking my time to take in as much as I could when I studied. And for those who are asking, I studied by watching lots of seasons of Big Brother. I started from season 3 and just binge as much as I could. And I also referenced the Reddit thread, well, not Reddit thread, but the Reddit page. I'm still not good talking about Reddit. But yeah, so I referenced Reddit a lot just to understand like, what is it that fans of this game love so much about the game? What is it about moves or personality types that are interesting in this game? And what is the best way to react in different scenarios? So it was really interesting, but I just knew at the end of this, kind of similar to the pageant world, or I don't know if you come from the fitness world or something, people who love their fan base are fully engaged and just want people who are going to respect it. So I just knew walking into this, like I needed to get a deeper knowledge so I could respect the game. Okay. Someone just asked, so were you a fan first? I was not. I was very, very loosely familiar with Big Brother. And then once I got recruited, first contacted, that's when I was like, okay, let's figure it out. Okay, so I'm gonna start from when I first got my DM. So Jesse Tenenbaum, the casting director of Big Brother, Survivor, and The Amazing Race, first sent me a DM in January of last year. And it was in my message requests folder. I had no idea how to see it, how to answer it. I just randomly stumbled across it a month later in February. And February is actually when I was watching Celebrity Big Brother. So I was getting more familiar with the game. But again, I was just like, oh, I really like Celebrity. But you don't watch Celebrity Big Brother to fall in love with the game or understand the history of the game or anything like that. So I responded to Jesse about the message he sent me in January about going on The Amazing Race. And I told him, I don't think it's for me. I didn't have any friends that I want to like do The Amazing Race with. I don't want to ruin any relationships and do The Amazing Race. And then I also saw you cast for Survivor and I was like, absolutely not. I'm not an outdoors girl. So I said, okay, well, what about Big Brother? And he said, I'd love to talk to you about Big Brother. And then that day we were on the phone and he told me about the show, kind of explained it to me, how long it lasts, and asked, are you still interested? And I was like, yeah, let's see how this goes. He then connected me with one of the casting people on his team. And from there, that was my main point of contact. So Jesse is like the big boss. He's the casting director. He has a whole team of people that work underneath him that recruit or go through applications to find the best people to go in the house. So that was in February. Early March, I'd been at that point texting with this casting producer. Is that their official name? Casting person? I don't want to be disrespectful to this person because they're amazing. Brittany Hoops in the building, hi! So early March, I had a one-on-one Skype. Actually, no, it was a Skype. I had a one-on-one Skype with this casting producer, and it was an interview. So she already knew a lot of backstory about me and information, but this was her. I was going to try to hide the gender of this person, but I guess it doesn't matter. But she and I did an interview, and she was just asking me questions. She knew a little bit of backstory on me, and before this interview, I did have to submit an application. So, you gotta submit an application like anybody else. You gotta prove that you're not a dud. So yes, I had Miss Congeniality under my belt. Yes, I had the Miss Michigan USA under my belt, but you gotta prove to these casting people that you are not a flop or a dud. So I submitted the application and I did this one-on-one interview that was recorded. And that had to be, I believe, presented to a team of people to see if they wanted to move forward. So that was early March. That was my first one-on-one with the casting producer. Early April, so basically a month from then, I'm binge watching the show. I'm learning as much as I can on Reddit. And that in early April is when I did the psych test. So I did psych tests. I did the math tests and things to test your IQ. And then mid-April is when I did 2 more rounds of interviews. That was first with Big Brother producers and CBS. So if you make it to number 1 and then you get to number 2, you know you're doing really well. But still, every single time my casting producer would call me after the call, I would just answer and be like, they hate me, right? I flopped that. I sucked. They hate me so much. And she'd be like, just relax. You're fine. We'll let you know how things go. They need to go deliberate, but just relax, you did fine. And I was like, no, they hate me. I just always tried to preemptively, I tried to manage my own expectations. So I was like, I don't know, I think they hate me, just so I wouldn't be let down long term. So that was mid-April. I went through both rounds. I made it to the next one. Things went well. And then late April is when things got really interesting. that is when I had a really long call with someone high up in the Big Brother world, kind of outlining what a packing list would be like, or like what you should maybe expect in the house, but they made it very clear that this meant absolutely nothing. Britt, I would like cry from my interviews. I know, it's so nerve-wracking. But yeah, I had a really, really long phone call that broke down like everything, what you would expect if you are to make it into the house, or like how cold it is and how to pack and things you need to set up with bank accounts. And so this is when you're starting to feel like, I think things went well, but I don't want to mess anything up. But things went well, but I don't want to mess anything up. Are we okay? I don't know. How are things going? So it's like very high stress because you're feeling good, but you don't want to feel too good so you don't shoot yourself in the foot and then get devastated. But the hints are there, but you are never told, pack your bags, we like you, go. Well, they're never going to tell you like you are main cast, you are going in the house. They are tight-lipped on that. So that was when that phone call happened. Early May is when we did our medical testing. And then it was like, oh my God. This whole time period was really, really just filled with anxiety for me. Because like you just don't know. And you're like, I want to plan my life, but I also don't know if I'm going to disappear for 3 months. So who knows? So we did medical testing. And again, it's like a lot of silence, but a lot of like, oh, things might be good for you, but we don't know. Things are kind of looking good, but we don't know. And it's like, just tell me, please. So I passed my crown in late May, and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm like, I think it's kind of going well, but I don't have any confirmation, but I'm trying to set up things for what's happening. I had to start lying to a lot of people because I was passing my crown as with Michigan USA, and I had to tell people what was happening next in my life. So I was like, I'm gonna be modeling in Europe for the summer, so you won't see me. Just a ball of anxiety. Now, early June is when things got really, really interesting. This is when I started getting calls from what they call field producers. And these are the people who are going to fly out to your hometown and film B-roll, the packages that you see in the beginning of the first episode. And so we get these calls and they're like, oh, if we were to come to you to film this, where would you take us? Can you sign this form so that, we have approval to film here? And you're like, okay, it looks like it's gonna be around this date. It looks like things are looking good. We're gonna come out and film this information, and then we're gonna fly back. And if you make the cast, that's when we're gonna edit everything. And then they might fly you out from where you are if you make the cast. And I'm like, okay, like, sure. And then it's like wink, wink, nudge, nudge, but also like, make sure your bag is packed at this very specific time. So you are like hinted, but you really don't know. And I remember they came out, they filmed, they did all the things. And after they showed me my key, again, mind you, I had no real confirmation that I was main cast or an alternate or anything like that. So they give me my key and I look at the producer and I'm like, so is this like a real thing? Like I'm actually going, or am I an alternate? Like what's happening? And he goes, you weren't told you were an alternate, were you? I said, no. He goes, no, this is real. I was like, okay. And from there they go, okay, we need to leave now. Your flight leaves in 2 hours. I was like, okay. Okay, so that was my timeline, basically. That's when I was kidnapped and taken to LA. And I love telling this little part. I remember I was sitting in coach. I was sitting coach. The jump seat was in front of me, so the seat in front of me didn't have the monitor on it. And I remember leaning uncomfortably against the window and thinking, if I win this game, I am never going to fly coach from Detroit to LA ever again. And now I have to keep that promise to myself. Okay, so we actually have a special guest in here to answer some of your questions that you have. And I will say again, you all have some really, really good questions that you asked. Here we go, accept. I hope it works. Oh, here we go. Jesse in the building!
Taylor, this is my first Insta Live ever, and we'll see if I want to continue to do so after this. We'll see.
I think you are just fine. Your skin is skinning. You look fabulous. You are the #1 person to go to for any questions about casting. And you're going to just do just fine. Guys, he's nervous.
Taylor, I am not nervous.
Never nervous.
I'm behind the camera nervous. So let's do it.
Okay, so we have a handful of questions that a lot of people have asked, and I'm going to ask you the ones that specifically pertain to like you and just things that you might be looking for or understand better than I would. You ready?
Yeah.
We'll do a softball. #1. Does CBS have age preferences?
For different shows, we have age preferences. So Big Brother's 21 and above. And there was one season where we did like someone I think like 18 or 19 years old, but it is 21 and above. But I mean, I would love to put an 80-year-old grandmother on the show. I mean, that'd be really cool. I'm down for that. So people are gonna start screaming.
Yeah, say wait, cover yourself.
Never mind. Yeah, no, we don't have an age limit. 21 and above for Big Brother, and like I said, I would love to get some grandparents on the show or whatnot, but it just depends. Can they keep up with these younger players? Can they handle the competitions? Do they have the personality to kind of mesh with a younger crowd? Because we also want to, as much as we can, hope that it's kind of like fair across the board as far as like everybody has a chance to mesh with each other. But yeah, 21 and above.
I remember seeing Jerry when I was watching everything, and I was like, oh my God, let's see another Jerry. Did you see Jerry apparently is like, get me back on the show. He's got a girlfriend that's like 20 years younger than him. He's ready, okay?
Yeah, look out for him on Amazing Race Night.
Okay, I'll ask you this one because I'm vain and I want to know what your thoughts are about me. What do you think set me apart in my casting call video auditions, I guess we'll say? What do you say? What, say it again?
I think like this is probably TMI for everybody, so here we go. I think it was just you being so unfiltered. Yeah. It just be like, what's something I would never guess from looking at you as a question I think I asked. You're like, well, I had my nipples pierced once.
I did.
And I was like, oh. I was like, wait, cool. I'm like, that's fun. You ask people those questions and sometimes they say just, no offense, a pageant girl answer. And I've talked to plenty of pageant girls, and you were the opposite of what a pageant girl is. And I talk to a lot of pageant girls and they say, I'm not your typical pageant girl. But then I'm like, okay, but you are, because everything you're saying is polished and perfect. So I think that's what made you stand out a little bit is our first conversation. And just like, it felt like I was shooting the shit with a friend. Like we're at a bar taking a shot of whatever your drink is and just like shooting shit and talking. When we call somebody or we talk to someone, it's like generally we kind of know right off the bat whether or not you're somebody that can go in a room at CBS or a Zoom or even the Big Brother house and do well in a social game. And Taylor, no offense, but when I joined, your numbers went up, I heard to say.
It's all you, Jesse. I don't have the it factor anymore. It's all you. Nothing else matters. Okay. Do you need a sad backstory?
Okay, listen, a lot of people say this to me as well. You don't need a sad backstory, but what those sad backstories are, there's layers. It's depth and layers and makes you stand out and feel different than anyone else. It doesn't mean that if you've lived a charmed life and you were the quarterback of your high school and you dated the cheerleader and you went
the pageant girl
and everything's been handed to you easily, it doesn't mean you can't get on the show. But we do look for depth and layers. And I think a lot of our shows, especially Survivor, is really digging deeper into people's stories. And I think that's what's such a beautiful thing about our network and that what we've been doing. We've been highlighting such different types of people. And I feel like in the past, shows put people in a box. You have the jock and you have this person and that person. And does that still happen? I think it naturally happens, but it's less of trying to shove people in a box and highlighting people for their differences. So no, you don't have to have a sad story to be on a show. But it's nice to know that you could talk about the things that you've gone through in your life. No, as much as someone might have lived a charmed life, you've still gone through shit in your life that's made you who you are today. So if you're open and vulnerable about talking about those things, you're letting your guard down and you're letting us into giving us a little backstory on who you are and what's made you who you are. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I mean,
more than
you look at me as Miss Michigan USA and Miss Congeniality, you would think I have the most charmed, easiest life ever. And I'll be honest, you all know my life has not been that hard. That doesn't mean I haven't faced adversity. That doesn't mean that I don't know how to speak to it. And, well, you know, I think I showed pretty well in this season. I also know how to navigate it. Okay, here's a good one, Jesse. What tips do you have on what to do after you submit and want to get a producer's attention?
I'll tell you what not to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if any of you have done this, I'm saying to you, don't find out our home address and mail us things. It's kind of scary. It's a little creepy. I mean, I do appreciate the effort, but you know, I like don't even pick up random phone numbers anymore, because I pick up a call and it's like somebody that found out my phone number, and that's just kind of it's stepping over the line a little bit. It's really just, you submit a video and you kind of just hope that it catches our attention. And I know it's like, but I want more. I want to, like, if you only saw me in person, if you only got me on the phone, if you only, but you have to understand, I'm sure for some of you that's true, but everybody thinks that. Everybody thinks that. And it's just really putting your best foot forward with the audition video. And then, yeah, if you want to send a DM to the casting team individually and be like, here's a YouTube link for my video, just so you can maybe see it if it's not in your territory. Cool. You know, but finding out people's phone numbers and finding out people's personal like addresses, it's just, if anything, that just lets us know, like, wow, is this someone I even want to call and work with? Because if they're this invasive now, I don't know if I want to get that much more invested in them, because it's like opening the doors for maybe something we just don't really want.
Yeah. And you don't know what that'll translate to in the house, and like you just don't want to submit anybody else to that. I actually really like this question, and I see it popping up in the chat as well a lot. There's a lot of questions on why you recruit people as well as going through submissions. So could you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, listen, I mean, I think every show is different, but the bottom line is the show must go on. We need a cast. And yes, people apply for our show. You don't know how many submissions we get. We go through them. And listen, every single individual in the world is special and unique in a certain way, right? There are some people that are super extroverted and great storytellers and pop and are telegenic and are just like funny and outspoken. And there are some that are just a little bit more of the homebody and a little bit more quiet, a little bit more reserved, and a little bit more like you ask them a question and they answer it with one word or one sentence. And we have the whole spectrum of people apply for Big Brother. So you take away a big portion of those people potentially that might not be right for a show like Big Brother. Doesn't mean they wouldn't be right for Married at First Sight, or right for Survivor, or right for The Real World if that show was still on. Everybody could potentially be on a reality show, but you are applying for one of the most, in a sense, invasive shows out there, where you are being recorded 24 hours a day. There is the live feeds. We hope that we get a cast of people that are all entertaining. Some people slip through the cracks sometimes. And so we are looking for big personality types. So sometimes you have to look outside the box of the applications and recruit. And, you know, sometimes recruits play the game better than, look at you, play the game better than super fans of the game. So, you know, it's like, if we only had applicants, somebody would complain that, you know, I wish we had recruits. And if we have recruits, people are going to complain that why we have recruits. It's just, you know, the bottom line is the show must go on. We want to try to make the best show possible. And if that means recruiting, it means recruiting.
I mean, I think it worked out pretty well. You guys recruited me, so, you know. Actually, this was something we were really curious about when we were in the house. How many people apply for the show?
Okay, listen, it's different. I will give a range. You know, it's different. The shows are different. Like Survivor, we cast 2 shows back to back. From the beginning of the casting process at the end, the numbers grow, just like the numbers grew for our show. But I would say on average, like 20,000 people. Like, you know, like Big Brother, it's, you know, it rained. It could be like 6,000 one year. It could be 5,000. It could be 7,000. And then some people, you know, here's my audition video, 175. And they submit a video every single day of the year. Some people do that, and they create multiple email addresses so they're able to do that. So those numbers, is it really those numbers? Is it less? Is it more? So yeah, that's the number. Ish.
We had no idea while we were in the house. Some people were like, yeah, like I know people apply, or like it can only be like a couple thousand, right? And I was like, no, probably like 10,000 plus, and people were like, "Oh my god,
It-
what?
it's
How many people are
for
watching the
every show.
feeds?"
It's different for every show.
Yeah, I'd imagine. Okay, there's a lot of question about gender diversity. A lot of people are asking if you would cast non-binary people or trans people on the show. I know that we've had a trans woman on the show once before.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I don't look, we're all people, right? I don't look at, oh, we've done the trans thing already. In that sense, like, oh, we've done the gorgeous black pageant girl before already. It's like, nah, come on. Like, of course, I feel like since, I started being a casting director even before the initiative that CBS placed, I was like, we need more diversity on our shows. And that's not just with race, that's checking every box possible. So like, I welcome that. I love that. I want to see more of that. So yes, 100%, all of them, and they. And
yes, he's and they.
Everybody.
All y'all. Okay, there's a lot of when will I hear back? When will I hear back? When will I hear back? So I kind of went through my timeline. What is it looking like for y'all right now?
Yeah, interesting because like, sometimes you might have applied before the casting started, right? And we started in February, and we're really looking at submissions all the way through the end of May. And you might have applied in February and might not get a call at all. You might apply in February and have gotten a call right away, or you might get it May 1st. And it's like, what's taking so long? Because we do review every submission. We review every submission, but sometimes casting is strategic as well. When we strategically want to reach out to this one person who has this personality type that sometimes strategically we want to hold until a little bit later to show. Or we already have, 5 people that kind of feel similar. So we kind of ride that wave for a minute and see how it goes, and then hold that person for round 2 or whatever, or save them for the following season. So I think that the better question to answer would be, by what date, if I don't hear anything, did it not work out? Okay, because then people could just breathe and just kind of let it go for this season, but try again. Would be the end of May, I would say.
Yeah, and even then, like, I was, just so I was a nervous wreck. I would call after every interview and be like, they hated me! Oh my god, it's over! Or like, I'd get a call from my casting producer or you, and I'd be like, just tell me it's over. I know you don't want me. And I was a nervous wreck. I was chilling during sequester because y'all know I love being alone. But even in sequester, you just don't know what's happening. Like, am I secretly an alternate, or did something happen where someone else is being thrown in? When you're waiting outside the door to walk into the house, you're just like, anything could happen. If I talk to the person next to me, are they going to snatch me with a hook, place me with somebody? And I mean, that basically happened with Joseph.
We scare you.
You terrify me, yeah. But truly, the whole process is it's an amazing opportunity. It's something so exciting, but it goes on for so long that it's very hard to try not to mess up, especially when I was being cast. We were still dealing with COVID. Like, I would wear a mask to go to the gym or the grocery store. I'd have things delivered to me because the last few weeks before getting sequestered, you just do not want to go through all the hard work to get to where you are, and then disappoint people like you who've done all the hard work. Okay. When it's casting, take big calls, age preferences. How do I make myself stand out?
This is the question I answer when people get so frustrated. Like, let me guess what everyone's thinking this, right? Let me guess what he's going to say. Be authentic.
Be yourself.
Be yourself. I mean, some of my favorite audition videos are just, Reem from season 38 of Survivor. Her video, she just was like driving a car. It was Mother's Day, and she just told her girlfriend, just film me. And she just started filming her, and she was driving her car and just like, I've always wanted to be on this show. And like, she just started talking and venting about her husband and venting about her kids and venting about what it's like being a Middle Eastern woman in today's society, and how, she was just being so authentic and real. And then she started getting emotional. She goes, why am I getting emotional? What is going on? And she just like, she didn't have a script, and it just was like, oh my God, this is what it feels like to be in the day in the life of Reem. And I just felt like this is who she is, and that is who she was through and through. So I think even if you take your cell phone and just go for a walk in your neighborhood and just like talk, as opposed to setting up the perfect tripod. Yes, we want to make sure I can hear and see you clearly. Don't wear sunglasses, don't wear a hat, but I think it's really just off the cuff. It could just be like, hey, what's up? I'm applying like for the 17th time. Like, I don't even know what the can I
Yes, please.
I don't even know what the fuck to do anymore. Like, I don't know what you guys want. Honestly, I'm like over my fucking job. I'm a pharmaceutical sales rep. I'm tired of kissing people's asses all day long. That's literally what I do. I clock in, I clock out. I've done everything right my entire life. I went to Harvard University for my dad. I like got straight A's for my mom, and I'm just sick of it. I want to just like unplug and play this game I've always wanted to fucking play. And it's like, oh wow, you're just like talking off the cuff, and you're just like, wow, this is what this person's really like, you know? So yes, you shouldn't just talk about nonsense. You should give us information about yourself, because sometimes we get people that make a video and it's just like, that was 4 minutes. I learned nothing about them. I know nothing about them. You know, like drop those like little facts about yourself. Like, oh, Harvard University. Okay, that's interesting. Like, I want to learn a little bit more about that. Like, oh, you're a pharmaceutical sales rep. Okay, always did things right. You know, got straight A's for the mom. Like, you're just kind of planting seeds in our minds, so we're learning who you are a little bit. So what you need to do to stand out is just shoot the shit with us and just talk to us. It doesn't mean make a video, a music video where you're doing the lyrics to a song tailored towards Big Brother, or you do a sketch, or you find the key and you're like, I found my key, and you do this whole like this thing that's for me does the opposite, to be honest. Doesn't mean I'll stop watching the video. I'll keep watching and give everyone a fair shot, but to stand out, it doesn't mean to do some flashy skit.
Yeah.
Like, that's not my jam.
I want to give a special shout out to Frenchie's in the building. Britt was in the building. Joseph was here, but he ran back to the gym as always.
Soccer.
Frenchie says, don't drop your camera in cow poop. On second thought, it worked for me. Was that in his video?
Frenchie, no offense, I don't remember. he worked with Penny, so Penny saw that video.
Penny gets some gems. Penny was my casting person, so shout out to Penny. I was trying to keep Penny on the low. So y'all don't blow her up, but y'all probably know who I'm talking about.
Address is.
You know what? Okay. Oh man, there was a really good one that I forgot. Oh, how important is it to you that you cast super fans? I think it's really interesting there.
Yeah, I mean, listen, going back to what I said before, some super fans crash and burn. You know, one of them might be in this room right now. Just kidding. So, yeah, super fans, it's I would love as many as I can get, but I'm not going to be a super fan over somebody who's super unique and interesting and different, that was a recruit, that ideally knows the show. You know, like, I get a lot of heat for, like, you just put these people in the show that don't know the show at all. Taylor knows. I stay on them. I'm like, what have you been watching? Prove it. Send me a video of you watching the show. I want proof.
Literally, because I posted about watching, I don't know, The Housewives or Drag Race, and the response to my story was, stop watching this and watch Big Brother. I was like, oh my God, leave me alone.
Like, I stay on all the recruits to make sure they're there. But, you know, once again, not every super fan plays the game that well. And some super fans overplay the game and they overthink things. When someone that doesn't know the show that well, they can kind of, in a sense, reinvent the game because they don't know the game. It might bring something different to the table than somebody that thinks they have it all figured out because they've studied the game so much. So, yeah, would it be cool if we had an entire season of super fans? Great. Spread the word. Get people to be more fans of the show. You know, get your friend that you think would be great for the show, but you don't tell them to apply because you want it to be your spot and you want to apply. You know, tell them to apply. You know, spread the word. Help us out. Come on.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Ooh, I have more questions, but they're a little shady and unnecessary. I think this can be our last one, and then I'll kind of leave the floor open for you if you have any last thoughts. But I'm seeing a lot of questions about social media presence. Does it matter? Does having a big following matter? Yada, yada, yada.
If anything, I have to be honest, that's a turnoff to me. Like, it's a turnoff to me. Like, here you came from being Miss Michigan, but I didn't feel like you wanted to do this because it'd be the next thing to give you publicity. Mm-hmm. You know, like, if I smell that, if I feel like you're doing this because you want exposure, because you want to be on TV, because you want to get more followers and get that blue check, like, I don't want to work with you. And I've told my team, if you're working with people that feel like they just want to be an influencer, don't work with them. Do they slip through the cracks? It happens. You know, people, you know, we can't follow people 24 hours. You're on the show, we're watching you 24 hours a day, but in the casting process, there's only so much we can see. And for the most part, we're pretty good at sniffing through the bullshit. But when we're talking to people, they are giving us their best selves, you know, and we can tell when it's fake. But
Joseph said, "Don't take a cruise to Bermuda before sequester. Jesse will not be happy."
No, seriously.
Should we add him in here for a sec? I don't know how to add him. Let's see here. But yeah, so I think that's something I actually really appreciated. You know, obviously it just kind of worked out differently for me. The blue check, the followers, the sponsorships, all of that. It was never something I anticipated or expected. I think there's definitely this new era of like, I'm going to go on reality TV and I'm going to milk every opportunity in front of me and I'm going to leave this TV show and I'm going to have the whole world open to me. And if you create a character or try to force things like that to happen, it's not going to happen. Because if there's one thing that Big Brother fans and casting producers know how to do, is have sniff out bullshit. And the last people that you want to have on your bad side is the Big Brother fan base. Now, I was just lucky that things played out the way they played out. But if I went to the Big Brother house and was actively trying to gain sponsorships or actively trying to get a Lay's deal, like, it would have fallen flat, and we all know this. So.
Oh, you know what you were doing with those checks.
Oh,
you know.
Yeah, I was Big Brothering everybody the whole time. The entire Arizona football team wants to be on the next season of Big Brother.
That sounds cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I'm going to give you my one pitch, then I'll let you do your final thoughts. I think like I have any say in this, I think replace Celebrity Big Brother and theme that season with a different reality show or like cast of TV show people. So like Drag Race Big Brother, or I don't know, the cast of Scandal Big Brother.
I think that's interesting, but I think other shows that do that, it's like lacking creativity, and it's just like pulling people from other shows that did the work to find them and putting them on other shows. And there's so many people out there that haven't done shows before, so much fresh talent, interesting people, that I'd rather get fresh people.
Where's my mug?
That's my take.
Okay, well, thanks for jumping in here, Jesse. Do you have any final thoughts, suggestions, questions, comments, concerns?
I mean, an overall final thought, but I mean, everyone's, you know, I have videos out there with giving advice. It would just be all repetitive. But the one thing I've never actually said publicly, I've kind of alluded to the fact, is like, be nice to each other. Like, you have to understand, yes. It's like,
please.
These people are putting themselves out there, right? And some other shows, you know, they film, they edit them to the perfection of the edit to make it a great show. Mm-hmm. These 16 house guests are being put on camera 24 hours a day, right? And I'm not sticking up for anything that anyone's ever said on the show, but it's like the second the cast is revealed, it's like, let's hunt and take them down. Let's destroy these people. And it's just like, I just wish that we were all nicer to each other. That's all. And be nice to me. Like, I try my best to get a good show for you all. Like, yeah. I took over 23. I think I did a great job. And, you know, I just like, obviously your season as well. But I just wish everyone was nicer to each other. That's all. That's my final.
I'm with you on that one. I think, and I know it's easy. Sometimes I wish, I'm lying when I say this. Sometimes I wish I didn't win the show. But sometimes I wish I didn't win the show, because I think it would matter a little bit more when I say something like, production does a really hard job and they try their best to show the truth as it is, or even show people in the best light that they can while also showing the truth. Or even in the casting team, you do your best to kind of suss out people and understand complexities. You know, if any of you were to meet anybody from my cast, you would have such an amazing experience with them walking away, regardless of whatever conflict or how I feel personally about people from my cast. If you met them, you would see the good in them, truly. Like, you'd walk away with a good interaction, and that's what production and casting saw when putting them in the house. So, you know, I'm always a proponent of just like, please be kind to other people. Please don't attack people unjustly so. And, you know, just, you know, be kind. Don't be nice, be kind.
Exactly.
All right. I love you. Thank you for jumping in here. I'll let you enjoy your LA sun.
Thank you. I can't wait to see 696 packages delivered to my front door in a couple weeks.
Don't stalk that man. All right, peace.
Bye.
All right, y'all. I see a handful more questions. I think I paused it by mistake. I see a handful more of questions in here. So I'm going to go ahead and ask these. Someone said, how long did it take after your initial interview to hear back? So I think between like every segmented process, it was about a month. So from, I mean, look, it was my fault between January and February for not responding, but February to March, there was about a month of hurry up and wait. From March to April, that's when a lot of like real things started rolling. That's when my first real interview was. And then my second and third interviews were both in April, I think. Am I lying to you? Yeah, mid-April. So everything goes kind of month by month. For me, at least, it could have been faster for other people. But yeah, there's a lot of waiting. You're going to be just like very stressed out, but trust the process. Also, what's up, Spencer? I see you, buddy. Let me know when you're home, because hi. Yes, the Cardinals are also in the chat because they're the bomb. The Cardinals are a Taylor stan. I'll say a Cardinals fan, a Lions stan. People are asking, can I still apply, or is it too late for this year? I say still apply. It can't hurt if you have a really awesome application. Like, you never know what's going to happen. So just send it, and you might get the phone call and just be like, pushed through the pipeline. What do you think about recruits being underestimated by Big Brother fans? I think it's more a sense of like, when you have a show or an experience that you love so much, you don't want to see people that have no idea what they're doing come into it and dick around. Like, I don't want to see people on Drag Race that are not going to be good at drag or good at performance or good at whatever their specialty is in drag, right? I don't want to see people competing at Miss USA that are not given a show, right? So I think when people get so up in arms about like super fans and feeders versus people who are recruited, it's just because people are really protective of the thing that they love. And so if you are recruited, please make sure you are watching the show, take notes, Google Big Brother, look at the moments that really matter to the fans of the show and learn from that. Comb through Reddit, comb through Big Brother Twitter, like the information that you need to be one, successful in the game, and two, appreciative of the game, and maybe even very good at the game, is all out there. So do everything you can, because once you figure out the magic of Big Brother, that's when, I mean, like, the fan base is going to appreciate you appreciating them. I remember coming out of the house, people started telling me that the second cast list or whatever dropped, that I had like a lot of traction behind me. And that's funny because I later found out that the cast list was dropped the day before we moved in. And I was so shocked when people told me that there was a lot of fanfare around me before the game even started. Because, I mean, people could look at me, the pageant girl, and know that I was a recruit. But I think the way and the research that I did in asking, whew, that Michigan accent just jumped out, yikes. But the research that I did showed in the way that I answered the questions that we were asked while we were in sequester, that went out to all of you. And again, it's because I made sure I took the time to respect the game and respect what I was walking into. Like, that matters. It really matters, and it goes a lot farther than people realize. So if you're a recruit, learn the game, respect the game, and you are going to fall in love with it too. And that's what matters. And thank you, everybody that was supportive of me before the game even got started, because again, never thought, I thought the opposite would happen. I thought people would be like, get this pageant girl out of here, boo. I really thought you guys were going to drag me online, for real. This is a good one. How much did you spend out of pocket buying wardrobe, hotel expenses for travel, etc.? Not a dime. That's a lie, actually. So all of the Giovanni outfits that I wore in the house, so the sparkly things that I was wearing, Giovanni is the designer that designed my Miss USA gown. So I was really lucky to have that personal connection where I could call them up and be like, hey, I think I'm getting like on a show. I can't tell you, like I'm gonna be gone maybe for 3 months though. So like, can you help me out? And like, I didn't tell them what the show was. I didn't tell them where I'd be. Honestly, I really didn't have that much information anyway. I had an idea of when the field producers were going to be flying out. But then from there, it was kind of like, okay, this is the date when field producers are gonna film me, but that doesn't guarantee that's the day I'm actually going to LA or if I'm even going at all. So thankfully, Giovanni came through and they were like, yep, we got you. And they sent me a handful of outfits that I could wear on the show. Of course, I packed things that I already owned. I went shopping. I spent about $300 on more wardrobe just because you're told you cannot wear white on the show because white or pastel colors, even a color like this, can mess with cameras. So I had to go out and buy like a lot more gem tones, jewel tones, or black to wear in the house. So when you're packing, you have to be aware of patterns and colors. Like you have to be very mindful of things. And they do warn you what to pack. But again, it's not packed for this date because you're leaving and your plane ticket is here. It's, hey, so you should pack this stuff and you should like be ready by this date because you maybe could possibly get a call, but you also probably couldn't. So like you are setting up your life to be gone for up to 3 months. And just waiting on standby with no solid idea if it's going to happen or not. Turner, for real, they robbed me of all my pastels and trucker hats. See, like all the stuff that'll mess with the camera, they take it all out. And so, yeah, I packed up all these things. My suitcase was like busting open, basically. And when you first get to sequester, and I'll say what I can say about sequester. When you first get to sequester, you go through the back of the hotel, you get taken up, you're told you cannot say anything at all because you're walking down the hallway with a bunch of other house guests. So like they don't want you talking at all. While you are in the elevator, you get off on one floor and there's another handler that goes up to another floor or down. I don't know where they went, but they're on the elevator with your bags. Your bags are taken away the second you get to the hotel and they are combing through your bags, taking away anything that's gonna mess with the camera, anything that has a brand on it. So I have like these SheFit biker shorts. They have SheFit like in big print on the hip bone. And I was just gonna turn it over so I could wear them in the house with my feet, little shorts. But I got the bag back and all my SheFit gear was gone. Anything that said Detroit on it, because it's a Detroit sports team, was gone. Like all things that had logos were taken out and I would not see them until I left the house. And that day when I got out the house, is that when they took away your vibrator? No, they took away my vibrator at move-in. So I got another smaller bag where I could have like all electronics and that included my curling iron, my personal curling iron, my flat iron, my blow dry brush, my pressing comb for my edges. So when I would do my hair and makeup for interviews, so you couldn't wear cardinals. I couldn't wear cardinals, guys. I'm sorry. When I would do my hair and makeup for interviews and things like that, I could have my own tools in the hotel. But then when we moved into the house, we could only use what was given to us. Can you wear university shirts, but not name brands? I don't think you can wear university shirts anymore either. So yeah, and like, remember that long phone call that I said at the top of this Instagram Live? That's when they tell you, like, you can't wear sports teams things. You can't wear college university things. I think Alyssa even had her dad's firefighter gear. She couldn't wear that in there because it was a specific unit and location. So they're very mindful of that. That is about everything I have. I think maybe I'll do another live later on. Cardinals, y'all, I'm not going to call y'all some bandwagon fans. I'm just saying we haven't linked up and y'all didn't send me any gear before I went in the house. So I'm kidding. What about that Kentucky sweater, Turner and Joseph wore? That's a really good question. I think it was just like a random Kentucky sweater that Turner picked up at a gas station somewhere when he was driving to Kentucky. Is that true? I don't know. Turner, jump in and let me know if that's true. But yeah, that's everything I've got. That's kind of my journey of casting until sequester and a little bit of sequester. I think as we get closer to Big Brother, I'll probably go live again. And I'll probably talk a little bit more about how to play the game or how I played the game I played it, and just some tips and tricks on what to do when you're in sequester and in the house. So I love this. You're saying, let's see the outfit today. I'm wearing sweatpants. Oh, I almost broke this chair. I am wearing sweatpants. And the top is from Hale, which we love. Just like that blue top that I wore in the house, the long sleeve blue top all the time on the show was also from Hale. I love my light blue Hale moments. Joseph, how was the cruise to the Bahamas before sequester? Don't drag that man. And look, it worked out for him. I was like wearing a mask, working out at home, not going anywhere. And this man was on a cruise. Okay, I'm dipping. It is time to watch Survivor, and then it's time to watch Vanderpump. I love you all. Huh? I gotta put my nails on too. Maybe I'll go live on TikTok and put my nails on. Okay, y'all have a good one. Peace, and good luck if you're applying.
This video is almost an hour long, so I cannot give a long commentary, but I would quickly say kudos to Taylor that through everything, she is still continuing to show people from her season, her cast, grace. And that's the best way to move forward. It's not that you're dismissing people's bad behavior, but for your own peace and for your own health and for your own mental health, you cannot hold on to all of that hate and everything that they did to you. It's like, you know what? Okay, some people have apologized. Let's move on. I'm at peace with it. What's done is done. I won the show. God is good. I'm blessed, booked, and busy, and I'm good. And it's just, you know what? Let it go and just move on your life and continue to be at peace. That's the best way to go. It doesn't mean that you forgot what they did to you or that you are dismissing their behavior. It's just simply, I'm choosing peace and it's time to move forward. I forgive, I didn't forget, but I'm at peace. And that's the best way to go. I'm wishing all of you well and take care. My loves, thank you all for your love and support. If you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Go ahead and leave this video a thumbs up. Also turn on notifications so when I do post, you're aware that I posted. And I will see you all in the comment section. Remember to always have the God bless attitude, which is being positive at all times and seeing the good in every situation. Have a great day, guys. God bless.